episode 6. Today I got a very special guest in here. It's one of my fellow Psycho members. And for that friend, we got my buddy Psycho Twilight.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Psycho Twilight here. And you know what? We're going to do a little one-on-one interview with him. First things first, I'm going to have him introduce himself to y'all.
My name's Twilight. Ex 2600 Rainbow Six Siege champion player. Top 500 in the world for Rebirth on Call of Duty, and now a professional Apex player for Team Psycho.
Hell yeah. And, I'm glad that you mentioned Psycho. It's awesome that I got another member on here because I swear I feel like I need to get more of y'all on here. I need to get more of us on here. It's a gaming podcast. I mean, we're one of the oldest gaming
people, family.
Right, for real. I mean, we're one of the oldest teams that are still inside the sniping community, still doing the same shit under one powerful org. So tell me about your journey to Psycho. Tell me about how you came about being a part of this lovely family.
Well, it all starts back. We can start with the first org I joined, right?
Okay.
Because obviously that's the introduction into someone's competitive or content creation journey. And of course, once they join an org, they're like, okay, now I'm part of something. It's when I first started Apex. It would be Baz. It was called Baz. And it was ran by the number one Mirage player in Apex, and had some mishaps along the way. You know what I mean? Didn't like some people. Some things happen. You learn, move on, cut ties, forget and forgive. So do that. Join some other orgs. Play the game. Just get better. Make a name for yourself. And then eventually it hit a point where I was starting to get my name a little out there, in not only just the Apex scene, but other games, even Twitter, esports communities. I was managing a few orgs. I was an owner for some time. I was doing more than just playing. And then it kind of hit the point where I was starting to join T1 orgs. I was part of XGN around that time, had 250,000 followers, right? Things happened with XGN. Wasn't really happy with what they were doing. Then just kind of went solo for a bit, got my bearings, played with some friends, started ranking up them tiers in Apex, started going from a T3 player to tier 2 player, doing tournaments more often. Then I joined an org called Enchantis. Really good org, was with them for about almost a year. That's where I started mainly getting my name out there with my teammates Borealis, Renji. There was a few others, like my coach and big brother Brandon. Just chilling, right? It was all going well. Again, things happened. Wasn't really fucking with what the org was doing, so I decided to cut ties. And then now we are here, and I'm in Psycho, right? You know what I mean? I know some of the ex-Psycho Apex members. I've been looking at Psycho for about maybe even before, since I was in Enchantis, maybe about 2 years then. I've always piqued an interest with the org just because it's an awesome org. You guys have been around, one of the longest orgs. It's still great to see that you guys are focusing on the gaming org aspect of it and just being an overall organization, other than FaZe just being lifestyle, right? Just signing these big creators and just wanting the quick cash grab and just trying to make it something it's not. And I really like that about Psycho.
Yeah, I mean, what Colby's done with Psycho is a testament to time. It'll continue to stand and be strong. It's just how it is. The foundation is just where it needs to be.
Insanely strong.
Right? Because, I mean, when you take all the teams that started around Psycho as well, I mean, you take Era. I mean, look how many times Era's ended.
Yeah, they rebranded.
Or Toon, Link.
Toon, that's another one. Ion.
I mean, Genesis back in the day. I mean, there's so many teams that were around, but they all just couldn't keep up. And I think what a lot of it has to do with too is the current events of just how the communities are starting to change, how gaming is starting to change. Because I mean, if we're talking about current events, I mean, even look at tournaments. I'm sure you have some good examples of how back in the day tournaments were. at least for Apex, like tournaments back in the day for Apex to how they are now. I mean,
It's
tell
completely
me a
different.
little bit about those. Tell me how like the old days and how like the current days are kind of meshing with each other.
For Apex necessarily, I started year 2 of
Mm-hmm.
LGS. I'm pretty sure we're on year 4 right now. I could be wrong. I'm probably on year 5. I'm pretty sure year 5 is next year. But
Okay.
2 years ago, man, it's changed not only from just the way people were, but even from the way I played, my teammates played, the people I know played. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like it's completely different. Just even seeing the game in a different state than it was back then. Even just small
Mm-hmm.
things as just seeing the colors of like the game, the color correction, stuff like that. It opens your eyes and like you realize how much things have evolved. And from I remember
Mm-hmm.
back then, it was so straightforward. And now it's kind of more so that there's so many things going on that they're all good. Well, not all good, but the things that are good, it's so heavily pushed to the player base, and everyone's doing the same thing. It's not what it used to be like, where everyone can run anything and still play at the highest level if needed. And now it's
Mm-hmm.
forcing players to play what the devs want them to play, rather than having the virtual freedom to do whatever you'd like in the game.
And I'm glad you brought the devs up because we kind of brought this up in like a previous show, but we were talking about like the ethics of gaming and like the ethics of esports and how like it almost feels like even now in like professional tournaments the ethics is really kind of spotty. You know what I mean? Because like it's kind of like how like you said they're forcing you guys to play certain characters. Like there is no free play anymore as far as what you can, like what characters can realistically like be played in, like I mean hell even in competitive, even in pubs nowadays you can't even play certain characters in pubs because it's just not going to work.
Yeah, I feel like the
Like
devs they're trying to push their more so what they want the game to be, rather than actually listening to their player base. And obviously, the
mhm.
player base knows best because they're the ones actively playing the game. And there's always
Right.
the argument to be made that, um, well, they're the ones developing the game. They would know. Well, I mean, there's that too, but they're not the primary consumer when it comes to this. So it kind of makes it a spotty, like gray area because ultimately they control it, right? And then they're obviously going to listen to more so they're pro players than they are their average 9 to 5 dad who comes home, kid who comes home at 2:45 to play Apex. So that's another thing. It's always more so in favor of the people who have power rather than the people who are actually there to support it.
Right. And like I don't know, I feel like it should be the other way around personally, like me personally.
I think there should be more communication between everybody because that's a big
Hmm.
thing between game devs and all. They like to throw out these tweets. They like to throw out these little patches and like say this is what we're doing. But ultimately, that's as little communication as we're getting, and times it's only like the most communication is like a pro player and their EA rep. Beyond
Hmm.
that point, no one knows what else is going on, and that's not just
Yeah,
for Apex. It's for Siege,
for
Ubisoft, for
everything.
Call of Duty, Halo, all these new games that are coming out, and I feel like there just needs to be more communication from everyone in general.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I don't know. I mean, and as far as like current tournaments going on right now, as far as like ones that you will be in, there any current ones coming up that you're going to be in?
We are going to be
Anything we need to
doing
look out for?
BLGS number 4 that will be
Okay.
hosted in about 11 to 12 days. I have to check the date, but that will be
Okay.
in 11 to 12 days. That's BLGS number 4.
Okay.
After that, not exactly sure. We'd probably be running Challenger Circuit from that. After now, someone's also hosted by EA after Challenger Circuit. Pretty sure maybe like
Okay.
in March, April, May, there's Pro League qualifiers that we will also be playing in. And then every
Hell
month we
yeah.
will always be playing in a $500 to $1,000 tournament. It's called the Blaze Cup, hosted by Inferno. And
Okay.
then anything along the lines, like I mean, like Telus tournaments, $24,000 ones that I've done in the past, will be
Mm-hmm.
competing in ones that we can just snipe and get in, right? And just get that free chance to just make some money.
Right. The quick, easy money, real
Yeah,
fast. Quick flips, basically.
exactly.
Okay. Okay. So it seems like you guys got a like a busy few months coming up after the
We do.
holidays.
We plan to just tackle it and get it done, play our hearts out, and just be the best versions of ourselves we can be.
Man, that's fucking awesome. That is awesome to hear. And let me tell you, I cannot wait because I'm assuming that these games are all going to be streamed too, right?
They're all going to be streamed, just like BLGS number 3 was this weekend. Went
Mm-hmm.
insane, killed 100 Thieves twice, prevented them from qualifying.
Ooh,
Killed
damn.
Luminosity Gaming. Sweet was the IGL. Got compliments from Sweet.
Jesus.
Few other people, yeah, we're definitely capable of playing at the highest tier easily. There's sometimes just teams troll. We happen to troll
Mm-hmm.
that day, and shit happens, man. That's all it is. Just shit happens, and you just come back stronger next time.
Right. No, that's fucking awesome to hear, man. It sounds like Apex Psycho side is going to be crazy to watch in the next
Definitely
few
will be.
months. It's fucking awesome, dude. Well, I want to know a little bit about your brand now. Tell me about it. Tell me about how you like you're expanding it, how you're growing with it. Tell me about it.
Well, inside of Apex, I'm known as that 16-year-old who is following that trend of just being a movement player, running circles around people, aim training daily, like pub stomping, just stomping on kids in general. I'm known as that guy. Younger kid, likes to talk a little bit, maybe run his mouth at some people, take shots at people.
Mm-hmm.
Just I stand up for my teammates, stand up for myself. I've had some mishaps here and there with my past orgs, maybe like getting called out for certain things, but nothing ever really sticks because I'm not that guy, right? You know what I mean? I'm not that person to let anything happen to me or let anyone try to push my buttons and just get away with it. Outside of Apex, like I said, like I mentioned before, I was 2600X champ year 5 in Rainbow Six Siege. Played a few scrims, like more so practice scrims for them, but they were like actual scrims for me. Went against M80
Mm-hmm.
and slash Godsend Spoit. Did pretty good. Um, Call of Duty, when Rebirth was still in, before like they did the whole map revamp with like Alcatraz and everything, like where they turned it
Mm-hmm.
like a military camp. I was top
Yeah.
500 in Rebirth Global.
Nice.
I was doing like I set myself because I was also doing content creation because there's obviously not really a comp scene for Rebirth. I was doing a lot of content creation. I was like pumping out a montage a day. I was doing like
Yeah.
let's get a gold a day in Modern Warfare 2019. Let's go for Obsidian every week, stuff like that. So it was mainly like real grind heavy when it comes to that. I'm a real
Mm-hmm.
big grinder when it comes to that, wanting to constantly improve, like with the aim training, always trying to get more consistent, just beat where you were at yesterday, even if it's by a little bit.
Right. No, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome. It sounds like behind your brand you got a lot of heart. It sounds like you got a good base for it.
Hmm.
It's good.
I also do
That's
content creation on the side. I mean, I've slowed down on that because I want to pursue competitive because I know
mm-hmm.
I'm more gifted at least with that side of gaming.
Yeah.
I'm decent at editing. I'm good at recording. I can edit videos. Just real, it takes a lot out of you just to sit there and edit a video for 4 or 5 hours on end.
Yeah.
Um, but I
So
definitely did that.
so let me ask you, since you're gonna be since you're making this switch to competitive, you've been making this switch. Have you thought about doing like short form content?
I did do short form content. I actually stopped content creation about a year or two ago because it
Okay.
was mainly Call of Duty at
Yeah.
first, and a lot of my inspiration came from like people like at the time E United Lyric, now just Lyric, Fade. A lot of those people who not were necessarily like just um, they would play pubs, but they were really
Mm-hmm.
good at what they did. They would stomp the
Yeah.
lobbies and everything. I wanted to be that until maybe like a month into playing Apex, I realized I'm not bad because I came from a high tier level of Siege. It's a very aim heavy game. My aim
Yeah.
transitioned over into Apex, all the tracking, all the flicking, all that. I was like, hey, I can go somewhere with this. I still
Okay.
did content creation. I still do. Like, it's not that I quit it officially, but it's just something that is not super consistent to the level as where my competitive play is. I'll definitely
Okay.
edit a video maybe like every month or every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, whenever I have time. I'll play Lethal Company with my boys. I'll make a funny compilation, right? I'll play Apex,
Mhm.
get some nasty clips, killing pro teams. I'll make a montage. But it's just not where it used to be. And where it used to be, I was getting thousands of views on videos, but I just realized this isn't what I want to do full time, at
Mhm.
least. This isn't what I want to pursue. I want to pursue it, but it's not what I want to pursue over comp. And comp is the main thing that has kept me going because again, I always can fall back on the communities I have, right, regarding content. But now that I've realized that I can go somewhere really far with this competitive play, it's a big eye opener.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. You should just focus on the grind then. Honestly, just keep doing it exactly how you're doing it right now. So it seems like you're heading in the right direction. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, it's definitely making improvements and progress that I've been wanting to see for a while.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Let's see. Well, hell, I mean, I don't think I have any more questions for you. If you got any questions for me? You got anything you want to ask me?
Um, honestly, what about your journey to Psycho? Because I know you've been in the gaming community for a while. I've seen you here for a long time. Even when I first joined Twitter in 2021 and was just starting to play Apex, I saw your name float around just in the esports scene.
Yeah. So, man, my journey came from the days of like Call of Duty 2, modern, like my days came in the early days of COD 2 sniping, and then not really doing much because the scene yet wasn't really developed. I mean, like it was kind of developed in COD 2, but not really as much as it should have been. And then in COD 3, it kind of started picking up more because multiplayer started getting bigger. And then I kind of played COD 3 multiplayer. But it really didn't start getting big until Modern Warfare, like when COD 4 came out. Because that's
So it
when you
just
had the
started to
birth of
snowball.
like, well, yeah, things just started to snowball because then you had sniping teams starting to show up. I mean, you had like R700, M40 start showing up. You had like, fuck, what other teams were around during that time? I can't
Soar.
even think. I don't think
Pretty sure
Soar had
Soar
been
was one of
birthed
the
yet.
early ones.
I don't think Soar had been birthed yet. You gotta remember, man, like a lot of teams didn't start coming around until like Modern Warfare 2 and near the like middle of COD 4. Because then you had started having teams like, fuck, I don't even know, man. I can't even think. Oh, I wasn't prepared for that. You caught me off
There's so
guard, you son of a
there's so
bitch.
many teams to see even like
There
from back then,
was.
like Soar. I know that they're relatively quote unquote newer compared to those teams that you listed, but like
I
even
mean,
just
you
seeing
had like
some die out as
Thrust,
recent too.
you had like Thrust, you had Zoo, you had, I mean, Thrust, Soar, Zoo, Dare, Darth,
There, that's an old one.
Envy sniping. You had DZ, and then they restarted a few times. And you had like Era, and like they restarted a few times. And it's just like then there was like Link. I can't really remember what happened with Link. Something happened with them. Then there's like Tune, and there was like, oh, dude, man, the list could go fucking on, man. There were
Yeah,
so
there's so
many teams,
many.
man.
There's so even
Like,
right now, like a lot of them, like they just trade off owners and they try to rebuild that success that it once had, and they just can't. The times have changed.
and and sadly the problem is the times, while the times are changing, the teams that are still established and still standing are understanding that you got to form the old with the new. Now you got to be able to
Yeah,
mix the two correctly, because like nowadays people are looking for that harmony. Because yeah, you have people that enjoy seeing like old gen stuff, but there's still a lot of people that enjoy seeing new gen. But then again, you have people that enjoy seeing like first releases for style games. You know what I mean? So like if you can build a team around kind of like a little bit of interest around everything. So like let's say kind of like for example like what Psycho does. You have streamers, you have your content creators, And then you have like your editors and your designers. Like you have all these different ways of promoting the team and the brand, and then the individual brand of the members. It's like that's how a team will survive,
That's
because the
another thing.
members will feel welcomed and
I feel like a lot of
appreciated.
players in these esports scenes, they join a lot of these T3 orgs. Like, again, you see kind of people like I mean, I'm gonna say some names here. Obviously, like another one that I kind of feel would be a T3 team is like Rift Clan. I'm sure you know who they are. Maybe, I don't know.
Mm,
I was part of Rift Clan for a bit. You know what I mean? They want to be all this, and that. Sometimes it's a little hard, and I feel like a lot of the times is a good example. The members want to be part of something. You can have a Twitter with 20,000 followers, a team Twitter with that amount. You can have a TikTok with 500,000 followers. At the end of the day, those followers aren't going to carry it if you're an owner just telling your managers what to do, and your managers
yeah.
are relaying that information over to the players, and they're not doing anything. And it all starts with the members, right? Because you can, as an owner, you can tell your manager what's going on. They can just relay that information. But if your members are just in the org just to say, "Hey, I'm part of Rift or I'm part of X team," and they have this many followers, but they're realistically not doing anything, then your team can't survive, like you had mentioned. And it's sad to see that, because all these people just want to say, "I have XYZ letters in front of my name, and I'm part of their team," right? They just want that. They're hoping to get the same found success by like other people like Face Sway or like Santana, just people who are notable in like these gaming scenes. They want that, but they don't understand how to replicate it.
Well, no, because quite frankly, everybody wants the end goal, but the problem is no one saw the grind that those guys went through to get to where they were. I mean, there's a reason they're notable players. They grinded to establish their brand, to establish their name, like, which ultimately any successful gamer, content creator, streamer, if they expect immediate growth and immediate success just because they join a team, guess what? You're joining that team for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Like, ultimately, when you join a team, it's not what can I get from the team or what do you get from me. It's what can we build together. That's how a lot of players stopped looking at it. It's like, how can we build? How can I help build whatever the dream is here? Like,
that's what goes back to the point of like people just joining and they don't end up doing anything. And it sucks because then it gives a bad name for not only the players, but then also the teams, because then it's my word against yours, right? Anyone can just make up a tweet and say, release for XYZ reason. But then at the end of the day, if there's no screenshots or anything, it's my word against yours. So then the next time the team is scouting a player, they are going through their heads saying, remember what happened last time with so-and-so? I wonder if that's going to happen again because they're part of the same community, or because they play the same game. And it just makes everything worse for everyone on both sides, because again, they just start thinking all these things, and then they have the bad experiences, and it just makes it harder for people to get where they need to be.
It does. And it's like, there's definitely an elitist system in the gaming world. There definitely is. I don't understand why it's there. It makes no sense to me, but it is there. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not everybody, and it's not even majority of people, but there is that small percentage of people that, like, they think just because they have like XYZ on fucking whatever social media app that they care to use, that all of a sudden they're like important. It's like, you're not really that important. And that's not to be rude or nothing, but it's like, dude, who really
what do you
cares?
provide to us? Right?
It's like, who really
like
cares?
If you don't provide
how many
anything,
followers you have.
You could have thousands of followers, right? But at the end of the day, are your followers helping our team? Are they contributing? Are they viewing our things? Are they supporting our other members? You can have that, but at the end of the day, you're only reaping the benefits.
Exactly. And it's just like, I don't know. There's always going to be just people that are like that, people that don't understand. But then again, as gamers and as OGs, some of us, we have to, I'm not going to say we have to, but it makes things a lot easier for someone later on if they try to join another team. If you try to tell them, hey, look, maybe you should change your perspective on how you're looking when you're joining a team. Like, you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
because sometimes just sometimes telling someone they don't realize it until they actually just get told it. But like, oh, maybe I am looking at this the wrong way. You know?
I feel like early on in my career when I was joining, I feel like a few times maybe I joined certain teams for the wrong reasons, and that shows because if I was part of a team that I was so like, oh my god, right? I was like, oh my god, I'm here finally. I'm making well, quote unquote name for yourself, even though it's not your name. They're just putting you on their roster, right? They're signing you. It's like shit wouldn't have gone down, obviously, if you
Mm-hmm.
weren't looking at it at the wrong way. Like if you really had the vision of truly wanting to be a part of something to help not only yourself but the other people grow, just
Mm-hmm.
give that mutual benefit, then you're looking at it just for your own benefit, right? And I feel like I was doing that a little in my early days, joining a few other orgs. I don't remember any off the top of my head, but there was definitely a few where I think I just joined them, and I feel like this happens to a lot of newer players, and just any or just not newer players, people who are new to the esports scene and community. They join them,
Mm-hmm.
and then they start to think like, "Oh, I'm the shit," right? And then they let their 3,000 4,000 like follower org like, "Hey, I'm part of that," right? They let that get to their head, and then they start to think, oh, I need more now because I've proved myself that I can get into things like this. So then they start team hopping. Decisions are made that shouldn't be made, and so many rash decisions, and it catches up with you eventually. It really does. So that's
It
why I feel
does.
like it's the esports scene is a little weird right now. At least mainly with like a lot of the younger people, because obviously it's going to entail to the more younger generation, the ones who are now picking up these other games, the underrated talent. But obviously, you still have people who are in their 20s, late teens, right, who still do things like this. But I still believe that majority of the esports scene is a good community and that they genuinely want to go somewhere. There's just that bad few.
And you're definitely not wrong. But I think I'm gonna like piggyback off that. But it goes back to saying it's like I think it's our job to
Mm-hmm.
like teach some of these newer players like sometimes you're gonna have to just sit at the bottom and grind the way up. Like doesn't matter where you go until you actually establish who you are
Mm-hmm.
or even establish just trust with wherever you're at. That's really when you're going to start seeing the real growth start happening as a player and as a leader as well.
They just want that overnight success, and they're not. No one gets that overnight success.
No,
No one. No.
it's just overnight success is a lie.
Yeah.
You can
They
you
think it's
can
like they can
bot
get rich quick or
whatever,
stuff like that.
right? Like you can bot whatever fucking social media account you want and like make it seem like you have this, that, and this as followers, but you're never gonna fucking do anything with it. What's up, Nuker? Are you joining in with us? Okay, cool. No, you're good. But yeah, no, man. Like it just goes to show that the younger generation will definitely grow. Hopefully, if
Yes.
mentored correctly, because it
I
would be
think
nice
they
to
need
see
to
a
be
more
here.
matured generation come up.
Yeah, they need someone to guide them in the right direction. That's why there's people like Colby. There's people like certain other owners. Like I can say for my short-lived time at Enchantis,
Mm-hmm.
even though the primary owner wasn't a good person and he made some very bad choices that I do not agree with in any way, shape, or form. I do believe that some of the things he taught me, and not only me, but some of the other people there, like myself, my teammates, and just other members that I didn't really interact with, definitely taught us some
Mm-hmm.
things, right? He definitely guided them in the right direction. He knew his shit. And it sucks because then they do things that they do, right? They make them those mistakes that cost them their entire um not personality, but they it cost them their entire social presence. And then now they can't help build what they wanted to build. They can't help build the next generation of esports players, and it becomes a problem because then it's like, who now are we going to have to teach them?
No, that's very true, man. That is very true. Like, and that's something that I'm glad Colby's pretty good at doing. He is really good at building up that young talent. Like, you know what I mean?
I've seen him. I've been in calls with him, and he knows his stuff. Game in, game out, doesn't matter. Like he's been in this community for X amount of years. So I would think he would know what he's got going under his belt. He knows where to go, especially with building a following like that. In
Mm-hmm.
Psycho alone, just himself too, his social, his personal brand, the people he's helped along the way. It it's not someone you want to take for granted or take advantage
No,
of, right?
no, not by any means. Like, he's a good guy. Which
He is.
I'm hoping to get him on here soon too.
That would
That's
be
gonna be
awesome.
good, right? It's gonna be good. I think if everything goes right, there's gonna be something, a little something brewing.
That would be awesome. It would give a more in-depth, um, not explanation, but an in-depth tale of Psycho and how it became to come, and the people who are now in it, who were in it, and everything alike.
It would, like, and that's definitely what that episode's gonna be. That episode is gonna be a dedication to Psycho. Like,
That would be
it's
awesome.
it's gonna be good. I gotta figure out where the fuck I'm even gonna host that one.
That would be dope to have it though. Like even just with like maybe with all the members, right? Or all the members that are free. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
get like to be able to show this is what we've built or this is what I've built and we've all collaborated on and this is what we've made together and now we're all here. It would be a good
Right.
um, public stance, or not maybe a public stance, but it just even be good for the org members themselves because then now they see what their work has paid off to.
Mm.
No, for sure. And him and I are definitely gonna talk about it. I'm definitely gonna talk about it with him. I'm gonna jot down some ideas because I definitely want to. Yeah, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a captivating story too. Honestly, to regale the days of old. Oh man, but alrighty. I think. I think for now, unless you have any more questions, Twilight.
No, man, everything's
No,
been said and
no.
done.
Cool. Nuker, do you have any questions for Twilight?
Ah,
Twilight about his journey? I
it's
don't know if you were
I'm
watching
just
live.
now getting into the conversation. I don't want to like rehash anything, but it's nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you too, Nooker. May many conversations come along the way.
I agree. I'm excited about this.
This is my good co-host,
Mm.
Okay.
good friend, and good co-host. But yeah, Twilight, thank you so much for being on the show, man. Thank you for coming
No
in to do
problem.
this one-on-one interview. It was definitely a
Anytime.
blast. Make sure to go check
was.
him out on all socials. I will be putting it inside the description below. And you know what? I think we out of here.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on here. It was awesome to answer any questions and just elaborate to anyone who doesn't know anything about me. Now that they know, anyone on the Call of Duty, Rainbow Six Siege, Valorant side, it's nice to reach out and expand to that.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Nuka, thank you so much for coming in late.
No problem.
Indeed. Indeed.
I'm,
Got
I'm
caught up with
fucking
something.
with you, bud.
I was expected to be here like 30 minutes ago, but I caught up with meetings, man.
No, I know. I'm fucking with you, dog. You're fine. All right, everybody. We